Welcome back to the channel, everybody. How you doing? How you doing? Today we are going to talk about The Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. This is the prequel to Silence of the Lambs. I decided to read this before I read any other books from the series, so let's get into the synopsis and then we'll talk about this book. A second family has been massacred by the terrifying serial killer the press has christened the Tooth Fairy. Special Agent Jack Crawford turns to the one man who can help restart a failed investigation, Will Graham. Graham is the greatest profiler the FBI ever had, but the physical and mental scars of capturing Hannibal Lecter have caused Graham to go into early retirement. Now, Graham must turn to Lecter for help. So I read The Red Dragon for a couple days because I didn't know that the Hannibal was like a series. I always thought it was Silence of the Lamb and that was it. And when I read Silence of the Lamb, I actually saw it was like number 2 and I was like, oh crap. I read the second book in the series and I realized there's 4 of them. So after I finished Silence of the Lamb, I was like, wow, this is really good. It was my favorite book of the year. So I was like, I have to read the other ones. So I decided to read Red Dragon before I read the other 2. Now there is some pros of Red Dragon. I didn't like Red Dragon as much as I liked Silence of the Lamb. I think arguably Silence of the Lamb is just a better book because Hannibal Lecter and Clarice together was just so good that you're just like, ooh, yeah. And there's those elements in this book with Graham and Hannibal early on, and then after that, it kind of just fiddles out, which is fine. I mean, I didn't expect to go into this book expecting just to see Hannibal Lecter throughout this whole book. I thought there was going to be some things of Hannibal Lecter, but I didn't expect it to be more than that, which I'm glad it wasn't. And we focus more on the Tooth Fairy or the Red Dragon. There's moments in this book that I didn't expect Thomas Harris to go. Like at first it felt like it was like page for page a lot like Silence of the Lamb, and then once you get to the 200 mark and after that you're actually in the POV of the Tooth Fairy and you learn that he has like multi-personality disorder essentially, where he believes that the Red Dragon is somebody else and he is just Francis. And it's so good that you actually kind of lean towards him as a character throughout this book, which I didn't expect because when you first meet him, it's pretty disturbing the things that he does in this book. And then when you get to the end, you're like, huh, that was actually pretty cool what happened to him. So I myself really enjoyed those elements. I didn't expect it to go into that way, but I did enjoy it. The one thing I didn't like as much as like Silence of the Lamb is, like I said, it's when I read Silence of the Lamb, I really liked it a lot because Hannibal Lecter and Clarice were so fun to read. Graham, I felt like was a little weaker than Clarice was. I think Clarice was just a better character than Graham was, but other than that, I really liked it. There's just elements of this book that I was very fascinated with, and I think the way that Thomas Harris writes characters in his books are so good. They actually just feel very believable, very cop-ish believability in these books that I just never thought I would actually read and enjoy as much. But yeah, I do like it. He actually did like flashbacks of the killer early on, and you actually spent a couple minutes learning about this killer in this book. I didn't expect that, but I really enjoyed this book because of those elements. It was a lot better than I was going into expecting. I got a little nervous because I was like, oh man, it's a 4-book series, and what if they're all not good? I already bought them, and Silence of the Lamb is the only one that's pretty good, and then the rest of them were kind of bad. That was my worry, but Red Dragon was really good. I actually read some comments from my winter TBR saying I'm going to be reading Red Dragon, and I actually had a couple people that said that Red Dragon's actually really good, and they weren't wrong, so I'm really happy that I had a lot of people that reassured me through the comments saying, hey, this is a really good book. If I had to give this a rating out of 5, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5. It's not a 5 out of 5, it's not nearly as good as Silence of the Lamb, but Red Dragon was still a really fun read. I liked that you got to meet Jack Crawford because he was in Silence of the Lamb, so you got to see him in this one. And if I can remember, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Will Graham is in Silence of the Lamb, but he's not in it too much. But there is a lot of characters that are sprinkled in the Red Dragon that you get to meet in Silence of the Lamb, which is cool. I mean, granted, it is a prequel, so it kind of makes sense. But to me, I really enjoyed that. I just was like, oh, I remember you. I remember you. So it was just little fun, little trinkets, I guess, throughout this whole book. But I think the only thing I could say, I don't really have a lot of like bad for this book. I don't really have much dislikes. I just didn't like it as much as I liked Silence of the Lamb. Just for character wise, I just didn't like Will Graham as much as I like Clarice. And that was like the biggest thing. And of course, the Tooth Fairy versus Hannibal Lecter, it's hard to say, wow, I like the Tooth Fairy more than Hannibal freaking Lecter. So, and that's just how it is, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I really did enjoy this book. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. What did you guys think about Red Dragon? Did you guys like Red Dragon, or did you guys not like it? Which one is your favorite book in the series out of the 4 of them? Is it Red Dragon, Silence of the Lamb, Hannibal, or Hannibal Rising? Which one is your favorite? I'd love to know down below. Hopefully, in spring, my goal is to actually read the next 2 books in the series, and then I am going to do a giant review about the whole series. So I'm really excited for that. But regardless, though, I'd love to know what you guys think about this book. And last but not least, make sure you guys stay safe, stay humble, and tell someone you love them. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay weird.